What if I told you you are not in control of your own thoughts? You're not making free choices. You're following a script you didn't write and never even questioned. This is not clickbait. This is not some absurd, illogical thinking. This is the reality that you and me live in. By the end of this video, you'll discover how most of your thoughts, reactions, and beliefs were installed in you before you even turned 7. Not by chance, not by nature, but by design. A system built to make you obedient, predictable, and easy to control. And the worst part, you think it's all you. Let's expose the programming. By the time you're 7 years old, your critical faculty, the part of your mind that filters what gets accepted as true or false, finally comes online. Before that, you are in theta state most of the time. Theta is the same brainwave state used in hypnosis. It's the state that military interrogators aim to induce when trying to implant suggestions. It's the state where your brain absorbs information without question. You accept it, not as data, but as identity. That's what's happening from birth until about 6 or 7 years old. You're walking around in a mild hypnotic trance. Every time your parents scold you, every time a teacher praises or shames you, every time you see how someone reacts to your emotions, your brain encodes that moment as truth. You're not judging, you're absorbing. You don't develop beliefs, you receive them. That's how a child can be convinced they're too loud or bad with people or not good at math. Not because it's true, but because they heard it. Once, maybe twice, and that was enough. This is why age 7 is such a significant mark, because that's the moment you start to defend your beliefs, but you don't realize none of them are truly yours. Now let's talk about something nobody wants to acknowledge. The modern school system, especially in the West, wasn't designed to create thinkers. It was modeled after the Prussian military education system. And if you don't know what that is, here's the short version. The Prussians built a system that could take normal children and turn them into soldiers, obedient, compliant, unshakable in the face of authority, trained to follow instructions without hesitation. This model was studied and adopted by industrial powers. Why? Because industry didn't need innovators. It needed workers, factory labor, citizens who wouldn't question orders, people who could sit in rows, respond to bells, memorize and regurgitate information. Sound familiar? That's the system you grew up in. You weren't educated, you were shaped. Your autonomy was broken, slowly, through repetition and reward-punishment cycles. You learned what behaviors brought approval. You learned what triggered embarrassment, and your brain, still in theta, attached emotion to those experiences. When you failed a test and felt ashamed, your brain said, mistakes equals danger. When you obeyed and were praised, your brain said, obedience equals safety. That conditioning didn't end when school ended. It became the foundation of how you make decisions today. Here's the truth most people can't handle, but since you have made it this far, I know that you are a truth seeker and can handle the information ahead. You are not choosing what you think you are. Your beliefs about love, success, money, authority, religion, self-worth, almost all of them were installed before you had the capacity to say no. And now, every day, you're filtering reality through a lens you didn't build. That's what brainwashing looks like. And it's elegant, because it doesn't feel like control. It feels like just the way things are. Example, you hesitate to speak up in a meeting. Why? Because your subconscious says, if you say something wrong, people will reject you. You sabotage your finances, because somewhere you associate wealth with guilt, or danger, or being judged. You stay in toxic relationships, because deep down, you believe love must be earned. And you were taught that at age 5. None of these reactions are logical. They're automatic, which means they're installed. Here's where it gets darker. The conditioning didn't stop at childhood. Once your critical faculty developed, the system had to change methods. It could no longer inject ideas directly. It had to bypass your awareness. So it started using repetition, emotional triggers, and authority. This is where mass media comes in. News, advertising, social media, all of it is designed to reprogram behavior at scale. You're shown what to fear, what to buy, what to envy, who to blame, who to worship. Every ad you see, every headline, every Instagram reel, they're hooks into your subconscious. Each one saying, you are not enough unless you buy this. You are unsafe unless you believe this. You don't belong unless you look like this. And because your early programming already wired you to seek approval, avoid embarrassment, and stay safe, you comply. Willingly, quietly, and repeatedly. There's a reason most people don't break free. Because the system doesn't just shape your behavior, it shapes your identity. Once you believe something about yourself, I'm just shy, I'm not a leader, I'm too anxious for that, you stop questioning the system, you blame yourself. That's the genius of deep conditioning. It makes the prisoner hold the keys and forget the door is even locked. And when someone else breaks the pattern, when someone speaks up, takes risks, builds wealth, commands a room, you don't get inspired, you get offended because it threatens your identity. You've built a life around the idea that the cage is real. So when someone flies out of it, your brain rejects it, not because it's impossible, but because it makes you question what you were taught. And questioning the system, that's dangerous. Now let's talk about what you can do. Because here's the truth. Even though the system was designed to program you, it can also be reprogrammed. The first step is this. You must separate yourself from your programming. You are not your thoughts. You are not your reactions. You are not your beliefs. You are the observer of those things. And once you become the observer, the programmer, everything changes. Here's what that looks like. Track your emotional triggers. Every time you hesitate, avoid, or self-sabotage, stop and ask, what belief just fired off? Write it down. Interrogate it. Where did it come from? Disrupt the pattern. Speak up. And rewire the identity. If you've made it this far, here's what I want you to know. You were never broken. You were programmed. And if you can be programmed, you can be reprogrammed. The real war isn't happening in politics. It's not in headlines. It's not even in schools. It's happening in your mind, every day, quietly, subtly. And the side that wins is the one you feed. If you keep living on autopilot, the system wins. If you stop, ask, and choose differently, you win. So start today. Because the biggest lie you were ever told was that you're not already free. Thanks for watching till the end, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more educational videos like this one.